Oh, now we live. Are we on the air? Yeah, we there. Oh man, had a late one last night watching the draft. Left the crib late, but here we are. TN, as in talking Nets. 9-9, like Aaron Judge. Just kidding. Aaron Judge is suspect. 9-9, like the 99 NFL draft. Donovan McNabb came out of that draft. Dante Culpepper. I think Tim Couch was number 1 overall. I'll use that. What's up, sports fan? I see you in the chat, brother.
All right, Keith, you ready to go? Ready to get this shit going?
Yeah, I was about to say I'm about to count us in. I am recording on my end. Sound good over here. And counting us in. Talking Nets life. You right. Counting us in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talking Nets, episode 99. Like 99 problems for the league. Did you see the Nets last night? This association has no idea what they're going to do to stop the Brooklyn Nets. We're going to talk about last night's Karis Day Pacers game. Karis Day part 2. Karis went off. I like that. We're going to talk about the Raptors win. That was a big win. We avenged the loss from about a week ago. We'll play your voicemails. We'll read a review. We'll talk that talk. This is Talking Nets, episode 99. Let's get it.
Editing in post. You love to see it.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talking Nets, episode 99. Like when Tim Couch got drafted in 99 to the Cleveland Browns, and they haven't figured it out since. Well, at least they got Baker. The draft was interesting last night. I don't know if you guys listening are all Jets fans, but the Jets got Zach Wilson, the new franchise. You love to see it jet up. What else happened in the draft? The Giants got finessed, and the NFC East basically took the 2 players they were targeting, and Devontae Smith to the Eagles and Micah Parsons to the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like you're leading in with some calf talking about the Giants got finesse. That was the best trade back of the night, actually. I mean, if you look at the return, I don't mind. We get the kid out of Florida, Kadarius Toney. I don't hate it. But look, this is not a football podcast. You can find other podcasts if you want to talk about all your football needs. Go Giants, though. But Keith, we got some stuff to talk about. We got 2 games. We got 2 wins. We didn't get the season sweep coming from the Raptors. And we got some news. We got full capacity for the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe. It's a good energy. It's a good vibe. It's warm outside. People are filling the stadium. People are filling the arena. It feels good, Keith. Let's get this shit going.
Yeah, let's get right into it then. There wasn't much for us to talk about in the news narratives, but that's news in New York. It seems like they're done with the nonsense. It seems like we're getting back to reality. The simulation is over. That fake life that we lived in 2020. I know some people are still holding on to it. I saw a comment. Someone was like, oh, so I guess COVID is just over. Yes, I guess it is, because people are vaccinated and people are tired of living under these COVID constructs and confines. And now New York City is saying that come July 1st, bitch, you guessed it, we back 100%. Hudson Flynn, are you going to go to any games? Are you going to go see any? I'm actually not going to the Yankee game tonight. It'll be the first game that I miss out of the first 12 games at Yankee Stadium. But we do have a Nets game booked. What are you thinking about New York getting back in the stadiums to root for our teams?
It's exciting. First off, tickets are going to be cheaper. That's huge. We're going to get more of the casual everyday fan being able to get into the game, not having to drop hundreds of dollars to be anywhere near to seeing the court. Hopefully, it's still going to be pretty expensive, but hopefully things are pretty reasonable at the Barclays Center. Can watch the Nets play. It is going to be the playoffs when that rolls around. It's going to be great. And you know what that means, Keith? Not just full in person for the Eastern Conference Finals, not just full in person for the finals. Keith, the parade, and that might be the party of the summer. The Brooklyn Nets parade coming down Atlantic Avenue. Man, I can't even imagine a more exciting time for the city as a whole, just to be able to everyone have been vaccinated, to break out of this pandemic, and to celebrate getting back in the summer with a championship parade.
Oh yeah, some of them New Yorkers gonna be big mad, but I can't wait for it, man. Watching the Nets play. The title of this episode was 99 Problems for the League, because watching the Nets play, they got a bunch of dogs, they got a bunch of guys, and I'm pretty sure 2 out of the big 3 didn't play last night. But let's get into some voicemails. We've got 5 voicemails, which is awesome. I remember times when I was asking for voicemails and it was crickets out here. So we're going to play the voicemails first, because when it's a ton of voicemails, I feel like that can dictate the conversation. So we'll go with that first. And we got to start with our guy, Jeremy. He kills it. He listens to Talking Nets. He knows what he's talking about.
What's up, guys? It's Jeffrey again, and I just want to check in and talk about the job Sean Marks has done ever since he came into this front office. This front office has found and developed hidden gems such as Bojan Bogdanovic, Brook Lopez, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, D'Angelo Russell, TLC from the bubble. Whether it's Kenny Atkinson, Jacque Vaughn, or Steve Nash, they've built this stabilized culture in our organization. And Sean Marks, man, he's an absolute genius. Even just this year, Tyler Johnson re-signed, Jeff Bean vet minimum, trade for Landry Shamet, Bruce Brown for Musa, signing Alizé, Blake Griffin buyout, Nick Claxton, and now Mike James. The fact that we had an 8-man rotation without a lot of our core players. Kyrie was struggling, KD for 7 shots. And this team is so deep that nobody had a negative plus minus, and almost everyone scored double digits. How could I forget Sean Marks pulling off the Harden trade? He basically set us up from rags to riches.
Rags to riches, rags to riches, rags to riches, rags to riches. All right, one more from Jeremy.
I don't know if you're going to put both voicemails, but I'm just going to say 2 things from the Pacers game. KD's unstoppable, and Alizé Johnson 2020 game off the bench. Absolutely unbelievable.
Jeremy, I got you, bro. I'll play both your voicemails. So back to his first voicemail. I love that he started with Bogdanovic.
I don't even know if my son was born when Bogdanovic was on this team. But look,
Bogdan was the man. Bogdan had a 40-point game. Yo, that was a little different. He knows
what's up. But Keith, you said you said Nets don't have 2 of their big 3 last night. We had a big 2. We had KD and the second coming of Dennis Rodman. Alizé Johnson put up a 2020 game, Keith.
Looking for revenge.
Revenge game coming out of the G League.
Bro? What like where did he come from? In Marks we trust. I'm watching this kid play. I'm like, he gets every rebound and he's got this bouncing energy to him. I'm like, is he human? What is he? Alizé Johnson? What's Iron Eagle goes, Alizé Johnson taking big sips.
That was Ian is having so much fun. Like I just want to talk about the broadcast. Like last night we clipped up Sarah Kustok breaking out the singing, and then Ian just absolutely putting her to bed, roasting her. That was comical. It's just amazing, and there's such a great match for the energy that this Nets team brings. Like, how could you not bring that hype, fun energy when you have Alizé coming on the court doing what he's doing off the bench? And when you have the stars, but when you also have the role players, everybody, just like our guy was talking about, it's just great to see. In Marks we trust. And, man, I just got to say thank you, Sean Marks, because you got us here.
99 problems for the league. Sean Marks, they said in the Harden trade, right? We traded away all our depth. This is going to ruin the Nets. They mortgaged their future. Sean Marks said, hold on. This is not 2013. This is 7/11/13. Shop.johnboymedia.com. You can find that shirt. All right, next voicemail.
Yo, what's up? It's Bird's Eye View. What can I say, guys? What can I say? The Nets just keep doing this thing. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving didn't even have their best games tonight. And we had guys like Jeff Green, who's money from 3. We had guys like Mike James. Who Who was Mike James? This dude was picked up by our guy Steve Marks. What am I saying? Sorry, Sean Marks.
Sean Marks.
And like Sean Marks just keeps picking up these guys that, you know, are unheard of, and they just keep delivering. It's crazy. Let's go Nets.
Let's go Nets is right. And yeah, watching that game, like that was the game last night. Let's start with KD though. KD is the best player currently playing in the NBA. And I know some people want to throw out Bron. I know our own fan base wants to throw out the bearded one, but they ain't playing right now. What we saw from KD last night is that he can do whatever he wants in one quarter. Like, bro, watching KD play, it's laughable because he misses time and then these narratives start about, oh, he's going to have leg injuries and, you know, this guy can't stay healthy. Hey, watch your mouth. KD is also looking for revenge. It's Slim Reaper time. He was activated last night. You love to see it, and you knew it was coming. Kyrie didn't play because it was Karras Day. He loves Karras too much to play against him. That's the second time Kyrie didn't play against Karras because he just can't go against his boy. But KD said, oh, I got a 40-piece for them. That's nothing.
He went out point KD. He started off getting the assists, had a double-digit assist night, and then in the third quarter, 22 points, Keith. Oh my goodness! It's just
that one quarter was just masterful.
It was masterful.
Right.
He didn't miss anything. It was ridiculous.
We still got a couple more voicemails. Our second lady caller. You love to see it.
Hey, Keith and Hudson. This is Alita from New Jersey. Been a hardcore Nets fan since day one, back in the J-Kid days. Finally got a chance to go out to the Barclays Center and get back home this year against the Suns. So it was a great game to catch. KD is just awesome. Every time you see him, you know, it's amazing, especially live in front of you. So just wanted to say thanks for always keeping us Nets fans positive. I think we got a good couple games coming up, and let's finish out the year strong. We'll get Harden back. So I'm just feeling good. So let's get it. Take care.
It's a feel-good Friday. There's nothing to be negative about. The last episode was number one and not worried. There shouldn't be a worry. There shouldn't be a doubt at this point. What you're seeing night after night now, this is the third game we've won in a row, new win streak coming, is that the Nets are chilling and they've got plenty guys. And there's guys that you forget about and there's guys that emerge. And it's like, that's reinforcements. And something I've been tweeting and doubling down on is we have the best role players and bench. And people are looking at me like, oh, I'm like, no. Think about it. When you're looking at matchups, right? Take the stars out of these matchups and then line up our bench players, our role players, our depth pieces. Like Blake Griffin is on this team as a depth piece. and Blake has been turning it up and playing a lot better. Like, you love to see it, man. Okay, how many more voicemails we got? We got two more. You know our guy, Cold Like Minnesota.
Keith Hudson, what up, bro? It's Louis from Minnesota. I'm just watching the Raptors game right now. Toronto versus Brooklyn. We're playing for that playoff clinch. Joe Harris just fucking dunks, bro. Come on, man. Joe Harris just dunks.
Louis, I'm glad you said that. Two things you said. Joe Harris dunk got me hype. I love the Uncle Jeff dunk tapes, but like that steal, and then Joey had no choice but to flush it down. And I'm like, Joey buckets, dunk it. And then also, Louis, how could I forget your Brooklyn Nets, the first team in the East to clinch the 2021 playoffs. Hashtag we are playoffs. Our Nets fans that remember 2015, that was a hashtag. And then I think it was one goal, bone goal back in 2013. I've been flexing my stamps, yo. I've been going back in the archives. Like, if anyone tries to pull my card and say, oh, stop trying to make the Nets a thing. You new Nets fans just started. Like, I saw someone try and call out the Talking Nets account, like, oh, created in 2019, bandwagoners. And I'm like, okay, hold on, let me get my receipts. The internet is written in ink. This is pictures from the 2015 series against the Hawks. Okay, let's go back a little further. 8 years ago, here's pictures from the Bulls series when no one thought anything about, there was no thoughts about where we currently are as Nets and Nets fans. So, Louis, Minnesota, you the man, bro. we have one more voicemail to play, and then Hudson and I are going to talk Nets.
Hi, Keith. Hi, Hudson. It's JJ. Who's LeBron? What's his last name again? James? Who's the best James in the league? I think his name is Mike James. Yeah, no, that was great. And the one play where Toronto, I don't even want to call them Toronto Raptors, they're playing down in Tampa Bay Raptors, doubled up on Mike James and left Kevin Durant and Joe Harris wide open for three. Like, what did you think was going to happen right there? And then Jeff Green knocks down a three at the end. That was pretty fun to watch. I was flipping back and forth. I had the Devils game on, I had the Yankees game on, and the Nets game on. It's the first time probably since close to the beginning of the season where all three of them were playing well, like since like the second or third Yankees game, whatever it was. Yep.
JJ, my guy. You guys should see JJ on our Twitter. I think we retweeted him. He posted his Nets World sweater, shop.johnboymedia.com/talking Nets. I was like, yo, that's clean. I got to order that one. JJ's the man. And he's also a Yankee fan and a big supporter of Talking Nets. I would say he's like TN fam, probably day one. He's been on early, you know. Anything else from the voicemails, Hudson? You got any thoughts before we get into these games?
I mean, shoot, I feel like we can use that voicemail to segue us right into that Raptors game, talking about Mike James, talking about what the Nets were able to do in that game. And look, that was really the story, right? 3 days after Mike James meets Steve Nash, Coach Nash, the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets for the first time, 3 days later, he is closing the game, running the point for the Nets in a game that was close, that at that point could have gone either way. And JJ talked about it, maybe the most comical play in Nets history and NBA history that I've ever seen. Mike James is coming down the court. He gets doubled off the spot immediately by the Raptors, leaving one player to cover Joe Harris and Kevin Durant. And the player chooses Joe Harris, which, like, I guess is the right decision based on numbers. But he left Kevin Durant just standing alone. And you could tell KD looked disrespected. He made the shot, and he just stared him down like, who do you think I am? Who do you think you are? I am. That was just, it was amazing. It was beautiful. I love this Nets team, and that's the representation of what we have, right? We have these three-point shooters that don't miss. You can't double because if you're leaving someone open, they're going to hit. And the depth that we've been talking about really showed itself in this game. Kyrie didn't have a great game, didn't even have double figures. KD didn't have his best game getting back. They were getting doubled the whole time, but it didn't matter because we had Joe Harris, we had Mike James, we had Landry Shamet, we had all these players who were able to step up into their roles and expand their roles and really just lead the Nets to a victory. And it felt great to see. It was a feel-good win. And, of course, we get to throw up the X, the Dez Bryant X, clinch in the playoffs. And, look, I know it was expected. I know it's our job. We had to do it. That was the least of things we had to do. But we can still feel good about it, Keith. Third year in a row, making the playoffs. Let's go Nets, man. It just feels good to be a Nets fan. And I'm not going to let any negative energy, any storylines, any haters just bring us down because we are feeling good. We have a lot to feel good about. And, man, it's just what you like to see. And I'm really enjoying being a Nets fan right now, and so should you all.
Our world, Nets world. It's our time. And game 62 of 72. The Nets beat the Raptors 116-103 down there in Tampa. The Tampa Raptors playing where the Lightning play. For some reason, we weren't favored in this game. For some reason, the Raptors were -5, I think. I don't know why. I almost bet the game, and I didn't. I should have bet that night. I called Higgy's homer that night, and I called the Nets. I should have bet the Nets with, like, the alternate spread. But whatever. I'm trying to stop betting. That shit is a easy way to lose money every week for nothing. But looking at that game, the biggest thing for me was the clinch. We win tonight. I think it was like if we win or Boston and Charlotte lose or whatever, we clinch. And one of them lost. I think the Celtics lost and we won. Double clinch. And then I just wanted to avenge that loss from like 2 Wednesdays ago. I just remember being in Yankee Stadium and the Yankees were playing like trash. And then I look at my phone, the Nets were up first half, and then we lost it in the second half. And I'm like, yo, come on. And I felt that way because I was worried about the 1 seed, right? With Philly losing a couple games. I'm like, that's a game we need to win. It didn't matter. Stop worrying. Stop being a pessimist person. Stop finding reasons for the Nets not to get it done. Starts in your mind. You got to believe. And they all believed when we went down there to Tampa, right? Harden said, I'm coming too. I want to get to a maskless environment and go turn up at the booty club. Don't leave without me. Like, I need to be there. I'm not playing, but I'll chill with y'all for a bit. We're developing chemistry, right? These guys are developing their chemistry off the court, which is so much greater than what they talk about on the court, right? When you have this many dominant guys and then you have this many dogs, they don't need forever to develop chemistry. They have chemistry eating lunch together. They have chemistry taking flights together. They have chemistry talking about the game in practice. So encouraging win against the Raptors. We don't get swept by the Raptors. And I want to say about that game, Kyrie had an off night with just 9 points. Almost everyone scored in double digits that started. But
actually, I think everybody that played actually scored in double digits except for Kyrie.
Everyone in the next game, everyone scores, or all 5 starters score in the double digits. Kyrie was the only one to not score in double digits, but Blake Griffin had 17 off the bench. Tyler Johnson had 10 off the bench. Mike James had 10 off the bench. Put some respect on his name off the bench. Man, didn't I say a couple episodes ago that, like, because I don't know, these people on like Nets Twitter and stuff, when we talk about Tyler Johnson, people were acting like we were, when we were saying like Tyler Johnson is out, we're missing Tyler Johnson too. People were like, Tyler Johnson, like he matters, like he's a factor. Watch the games. Pretty quickly, he shows you what he can do. He is a factor. So good win. Dunkle Jeff and all that led us in scoring with 22 points. You love to see it. Guys on the vet minimum. Like who else is on the vet minimum doing what Jeff Green is doing? Jeff Green is the guy that
34-year-old in his prime.
Jeff Green is the guy that they're interviewing after the games. He's leading us in scoring. He's putting on a highlight reel every night of dunks. And he's telling you, I'm in the best shape of my life. I've taken care of my body. People try to say 34, like age is like a way to determine what I got left. I'm more athletic than some of these young guys. So do your thing, Dunkle Jeff, Uncle Jeff, Father Jeff, bless him. DNPs from that game. DeAndre Jordan, TLC. Didn't play. I think it might have just been a matchup thing, but those guys missed out. Now let's move on to the next game. Game 63 of 72 on the road in Indiana. The Nets beat the Pacers 130-113 last night.
Karis Day.
It was Karis Day part 2. And we out here like, hey, it's Karis Day. Karis Day. We love Karis. And before the game, I literally wrote, hope he drops 30 in a loss. Just because I want to see his game. Like, I want to see his move.
I want to see what he can do. I want to see how he's grown.
Yes, I want to see how he's evolved now, being like the main guy or one of the main guys. Brogdon went down, so Karis ended up putting up 36. And it's funny because we go into these games like Karis Day, but then once we get into the games, I forget all about Karis. It's all about the Nets. And KD is the best player in the NBA. We already said that. But KD grabs boards. KD plays defense. KD gets assists. And what people don't realize is once you put a powerful figure on the court like KD, the whole game changes around him. And he didn't have Kyrie last night. I already said Kyrie doesn't play on Karis Day. Is it still Ramadan? I think Ramadan might still be going on or coming to an end. But really, I think Kyrie, he's homies with Karis. We saw his IG live. He had Karis come in. Like, they're boys. And I don't think he wants to step on the court and check his boys. Probably some weird feelings, like, damn, man, you should be over here with us. But we got Harden. We had to get Harden. That was necessary. So from this game, Alize Johnson deserves player of the game. Obviously, KD, but we gave Alize Johnson. If you guys follow us on Twitter and even look at our fleets on Twitter, we always throw up the graphic. Shout out Twitchy for throwing together the graphics of who's a player of the game. Now, obviously KD, but Alize Johnson in a revenge game. Hudson found the pic of him in the Pacers jersey. We put it out there. Iron Eagles talking about it being a revenge game. I want to say, didn't Alize Johnson in his first game have almost a 20-20 game?
He was on pace for it. He
didn't get there. He almost got it.
He had like 22 and 17, if I remember correctly, against the Jazz. But that was ridiculous from Alizé. I mean, we have the best player in this league and the best player from the G League now getting buckets. And Kevin Durant tweets him after the game, like, I had to let my youngin give him that 20 for 20. Like, you got to love the Nets. They're fun. They have fun. They use social media. They tweet at each other. They flex. They're having a good time. And when you get 42 from Durant and then the second leading scorer is Alizé Johnson with 20, it was his first game back from COVID protocols. He hasn't played the last few games. He was
didn't miss a beat.
He was ready to go.
Didn't miss a beat. He has the energy. TLC, I want to give props to. I just mentioned him with the DNP in the game before. TLC had 7 points. He made some threes, and like, I feel like TLC is on the cusp. Like, these last few games might be like a tryout for TLC. Like, see where you're going to fall, see where you're going to be in this rotation, because TLC is only getting minutes without Harden, without Kyrie,
without
Bruce Brown. Like, we're missing guys. So I don't know. TLC's run may be over soon. What else from this game? Tyler Johnson again. Another double-digit night for Tyler Johnson. Another solid performance. He played 26 minutes. They're trying to tell me that Tyler Johnson isn't a part of this Nets team. Of course he is. He's a Sean Marks guy specifically. If you know the story about him, Landry Shamet with 14, Jeff Green with 14, Joe Harris with 14. That's solid. All of your starters scored 11 points or more, and then KD scores 42 and has his way completely, like, literally can do whatever he wants. 10 assists, 3 rebounds, plays 36 minutes. And what I'll say about this game is it got a little wonky in the, fourth quarter. We were blowing them out. We were up 20 plus. And then we were calling for KD to rest because we have a game tonight. We have a back-to-back tonight against the Blazers in Brooklyn. We were calling for them to sit KD down, but you can't sit KD down with the game on the line. We need to win all these games. We're trying to stay in first. So KD showed, man, 36 minutes. It was just, 2-3 games ago that KD was playing 28 minutes as his max? And now it's like the chains are off. No Kyrie. Let KD do his thing. We knew it was a KD night. We saw KD on the sideline getting his breathing, getting his chakras in line, getting his aura right before the game. You know he got that from Kyrie, or maybe the Calm app that LeBron uses. But either way, it worked. He balled out. What else you got from this Pacers game last night at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Hudson?
Shoot, I mean, like, you talked about how our bench played and them all putting up 14 points. That's how the Nets are able to put up 130 points when they don't have Kyrie or James Harden. That's how they're able to do it. That's why the Nets are so lethal, because when they don't have those players, people step up and fill their shoes. And they may not be able to do it the same way, at the same rate, what have you, but they step up and they collectively fill in the gaps that are being left by their absence. And it's great to see. And it's just great for this Nets team because, look, the playoffs are long. It takes you 16 wins, it's 16 wins no matter what, to win the finals. You're playing minimum 16 games. Nets are probably going to play more than that. Injuries might come. People might need to sit down. People might need to, take a rest. Whatever ends up happening is going to be what ends up happening. But there's going to be times when the Nets are going to rely on their secondary pieces to be able to get it done. And players like Alizé, knowing we can throw him out there and he's going to get rebounds, whether it's going out there and doubling up against Joel Embiid or just we need him to get some rebounds. Who knows? Maybe we're playing Jokic in the finals. Probably not, but who knows? Maybe we need someone to D up on him. You have Bruce Brown, who needs to play bigger than he is. You have Joe Harris needing to hit all of his open threes. Landry Shamet doing the same thing. And that's why the Nets are so lethal. I'm going back to what I said at the beginning of the season. And like you said earlier in this podcast, the Nets are the deepest team in the league. And that's what makes them so deadly, because aside from the star power that they have the secondary pieces that can get it done every day of the week and twice on Sundays. And look, if they didn't have it, this Nets team wouldn't be nearly as good, wouldn't be in first place, wouldn't be the first team to clinch a playoff berth. But we do have it, and we're killing it, and we're enjoying ourselves, and that camaraderie is showing through. And it's just a great time to be a Nets fan. They're playing great basketball, and they're playing it at the right time because they got all the momentum in the world even though they're playing it back-to-back, even though their schedule's tough going into the playoffs, they got all the energy, all the momentum in the world going into the playoffs. And, man, it's looking up. It's looking up in Brooklyn, and it has to look up because our expectations are championship or bust, and we're not busting, Keith.
Whoa, come on, bro. You can't, like...
I don't even care anymore. Keith. It's fine. It's fine.
Pause,
First off,
bro.
we said we're not.
You can't finish a sentence like that and then say my name in the sentence at the same time. What is going on?
I said we're not. I said we're not. It's as simple as that. We're not. I didn't say we are.
What are they teaching y'all up there in Fordham?
You shouldn't have a problem with me saying we're not. I mean, if you do, it seems like you want the opposite to be true, and then I would call
you making it worse.
No, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like you want. If you're getting so riled up over me saying that we're not.
Say it's all or nothing. Say it's championship or nothing. We don't gotta throw that B word in there and then put my name in the sentence. You got me all out of sorts, y'all. I'm not rocking with that.
Look, you were the one who was mad about it. I said we're not, and you're like, nah, we are. And I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna make a reel of pausable moments from Hudson Flint on Talking Nets, talking about busts and strokes and releasing. Let's move on, man. They big mad out here, and we have a review. And I hate to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. And I'm gonna read the review, and then I'm gonna kick you my stance on all of this, right? So first off, Trey, A-T-R-E-T-R-E, appreciate the review. We need reviews because when people look at us on Apple Podcasts, it makes us look better. Let's get us to 100 reviews. I think we're at like 80 right now. We need 20 more reviews to get to 100. Let's get to 100 before the playoffs. Here's the review. 5 stars from Tuesday. Nets World. Y'all keep up the great work. You guys are the GOATs right now in the basketball podcast section, in my opinion. 100 emoji, 100 emoji. But did y'all also see those Madison Squares fans chanting F the Nets outside their stadium the other day? Crying, laughing emoji. Crying, laughing emoji. Didn't we sweep them? Question mark, sarcastically. Yeah, we did. And last episode, we touched on that. And now I'm back to touch on it again at the end of this episode. We led in last episode, and Hudson and I had this stance of, we don't talk about them unless we're playing them. Well, we're done playing them. We swept them. And now we're talking about them because they're talking about us. And my stance is I'm tired of being bullied. I'm tired of being treated like little brother. It's so dumb when we're up here and you're down there. You got guys like Stephen A. Smith saying, the Nets are in first place and nobody cares. The world cares. It's a global game. Literally, Talking Nets is pulling in fans across the globe. It's international. So you can run the city. We're trying to run the world. And when you see the Nets fan, or you see that Knicks fans are outside Madison Square Garden chanting F the Nets, it's funny, right? I just was waiting. I think that happened Sunday. Sunday, we beat the Suns. And then Monday, in a back-to-back, the Suns go and play in Madison Square Garden. And I was actually talking to my homies from Pinstripe Strong. They're Knicks fans. And I said, they should be able to beat the Suns. The Suns are on a back-to-back tough loss against us. Like, they should be able to beat them. But they didn't. Chris Paul turned it on, won that game, and the streak ended. So what did I do, right? The Yankees lost that night, so I was a little tight about that. And I just played into it. Now, you're not going to see our Talking Nets brand account play too much into the Madison Squares because we just don't, there's no reason to at this point. Unless we somehow match up with them in the playoffs, the Talking Nets brand account is not going to play into it. But my account is not the brand account. My account is my government name and my face. I knew exactly what to do as soon as they lost. All I did was take the Homer Simpson sleeping meme with the Brooklyn Nets hat and write, what streak? And shout out to my guy, Deezus Nice, Deezus Amiro, old friend of mine, quote tweeted my tweet and said, rent free. Sure, I guess the rent is free, but I'm just playing the game, trolling y'all. Stop poking the bear. You always want to talk about the Nets. You always want to say something about the Nets fans. Well, someone's got to stand up and fight for us. And our guy Spen from Fireside Nets, Spen was saying, you know, because he was going back and forth with Jerry Ferrara, Turtle from Entourage. And he was like, man, we need a Nets fan that's going to like talk shit for us. And I'm like, Spen, you could be that guy. And he's like, yeah, I've been talking shit to Knicks fans since the Jason Kidd era. But I'm like, no, we all can be that guy. It's our time. We're not backing down to these nerds. We're the number one team. We're the big bad team in New York. We're the team that everyone's worried about. We're the team that's got 99 problems for this league. So I'm like, yo, I'm talking my shit. And of course, it's just too easy, right? I said, at least the Icks loss, that got under people's skin. I posted the Homer meme. I posted the Julius Randle video where his son is like, I hate the Brooklyn Nets. I ended up deleting it because, of course, these nerds were in their feelings and they're like, oh my God, you're a grown man posting a 4-year-old. I'm like, yeah, I didn't post the video. I wasn't with his son. I'm just sharing something I found on the internet. It's hilarious because that is how you Knicks fans cry about the Nets. Hudson, you go to school in Florida. You born in New York. I'm a New Jersey guy. At least I have that because people are like, Knicks run New York. I'm like, that's cool. I'm from Jersey. They're like, Knicks run the city. I'm like, that's cool. I just come to visit and leave. How do you feel, bro? Especially now you're reading this review and the new streak in New York is the Nets 3-game winning streak. Their streak is no more. They got nothing to talk about. We had to hear about that streak for 2 weeks and then they brought us into it. And I just got tired of being roped into the nonsense.
Look, first off, talk about rent-free. Didn't even play the Nets, got swept by the Nets. You're outside of your arena chanting F the Nets. Okay, fine. I don't want to read too much into that, you know, who's in whose head rent free. Look, I get it. It sucks. You don't want to be the second best team in your city. You don't want to be not as good. You don't want to have all that history behind you. And then, oh, it's just the Nets. The Nets are just better. And the history doesn't mean anything because we live in the here and now. We don't live in the past talking about past rings like they're Cowboys fans. It's ridiculous. But look, at the end of the day, enjoy your role. You're not in the position to be talking about who's going to win a championship, who's going to do what, talking about, oh, if we get the Nets in the second round, we match up well again. You didn't. First off, we got you swept, but shut up. Just be quiet. You don't. No one does because they're the Nets, because they have James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. You don't want the smoke, so stop asking for it. And I know, talking Nets, we wield a lot of clout. We're the biggest, most popular account on Nets Twitter. We get the most engagement, more than anybody. We can wield a lot of power talking about Knicks fans. We choose not to because we don't want your salty comments in our mentions. But we can. If you keep asking for the smoke, you're going to get it. And at the end of the day, it's going to be fun for us. It's going to be good for the Twitter because that's free money. That's free engagements. And it's going to be a great time because you got nothing to back it up. You lost to the Nets. You got swept. You lost to the Nets when the Nets had 7 players after the James Harden trade the same day. You got nothing. There is no excuses left for you guys to be able to make. And when you're in that position, don't talk. Just don't talk. Keep it to yourself. I'm looking out for you and your best interests and saying, keep your mouth closed.
Well said. And last thing I'll say is you should be happy we're here. And if there's any, I know this is a safe space, right? I know this is a space that Nets fans, where this is a closed off space that Nets fans can talk about the corny ass Knickerbockers from Manhattan. So I'm gonna say what I want here. And there might be some goofy ass Knicks fans listening because that's how those nerds move. They think about us and they're actually thinking about switching their jerseys, getting one of these fresh blue jerseys we'll be wearing tonight, representing the 91 New Jersey Nets. But this is the last thing I want to say. Be happy we're here. Be happy that we're holding your organization accountable. The team from New Jersey came across the bridge to Brooklyn, planted their flag, and said, you know what? We're going to go to the playoffs. In 9 years, we're going to go to the playoffs 5 times, 6 times. I'm not exactly sure. I think it was 6. We're also going to bring free agents in here, top players in here that you can't get. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to make your organization have to be better. That's going to make James Dolan, who is the absolute worst, have to be better. At least he hired you, Tom Thibodeau. That might be the best move the Knicks have made in 20 years. And then you went out And you got guys like Julius Randle a couple years ago, Reggie Bullock. You figured out how to get D Rose in there. You got RJ Barrett 2 years ago with the 3 pick. You got a kid out of Duke that is going to be a pro and be an awesome player for years. Enjoy your own success. Be happy that the Nets came here to make you accountable, because that's why you're seeing success. You have a little brother to compete with that now grew up and became big brother, and all you can do is say, oh, well, nobody cares. Clearly you care, because that's all you talk about. Now let's do this. To wrap up the pod, I'd like to go into the chat. This is new for the people that'll just be listening. I'd like to go to the chat from YouTube and pull some of the questions and try and answer them quickly. So first one I see, there's going to be 100% capacity in July. Yes. Someone said, was Alizé drinking Henny? Maybe after the game. I would assume he's going for that Alizé sponsorship. They should be working on that. Nice jersey, Keith. Thank you. How many games do we have to win to lock the 1 spot? Interesting question. Now, looking at the standings, we are a game and a half ahead of Philly. We've got less than 10 games left. I think we have 9 games left. Man, it's gonna be interesting. We've got, and that's a good way to talk about the upcoming schedule. We've got some tough games ahead. Tonight, we'll be wearing these blue throwback jerseys in Brooklyn, and we face Dame Time, CJ, Melo. The Blazers are going to be looking to battle. It's got to be another high-scoring game. Maybe Kyrie plays. We can't expect KD. Yeah, we can't expect KD after he played 36 minutes and gave us 42. I don't know. He might play, but we can't expect that. They're still managing these guys.
Coach Nash himself said he didn't want him to.
Yeah, so don't expect that. I mean, maybe Kyrie can go out there and drop 40. But then we also have another one of these home and home series coming up where we go to Milwaukee and we play 2 games against the Bucks, May 2nd and May 4th. So that's Sunday and Tuesday. And we need those games. At worst, we split.
Gotta be wins.
But we need those games. We need to keep this win streak going and win the next 3 games and get it to 6. And this is tough competition, and we don't have all our guys. I hope Claxton is on the way back from his COVID protocols. Bruce Brown, I hope he's all right. But
I think he might play tonight. Steve Nash said that there was a chance he plays tonight. But look, realistically, the Nets just need to keep winning, right? There's no magic number because the Sixers have an easy schedule. The Nets' destiny is in their own hands in terms of having to win out, but the Nets have harder games. So we really just need to step up because we can't expect the Sixers to lose any of these games. So we need to get to the point where the Nets have our destiny in our own hands more so than just winning and hoping that the Sixers lose, because they won't, because they're playing some really good, some really bad teams that they match up well against.
Control your own destiny. Win every game left. Win the rest of the games on the schedule. And there's some games that are going to be winnable coming up. But there's also going to be tough games. We got to play the Mavericks. We got to play the Nuggets. We will be at the Bulls game on May 15th. There's a group of 18 of us. I think if you listen to the last episode all the way, I said I got 1 ticket. I'm going to buy 1 extra ticket, and it's probably going to be a giveaway to, just a random Nets fan to bring you guys with us. Last things from the chat. I see some people talking about being a bandwagon fan. You're not a bandwagon fan if you joined the Nets in 2011 when they became a new franchise in Brooklyn. Someone said I'm one of 5 Nets fans. Yeah, that's getting old. And what Talking Nets is doing, right? When you see all the followers we have, when you see all the people that are watching our stuff, it's growing. What is literally happening is the fan base is growing. So that narrative is washed and dumb. Not worried about the Lakers. People are saying Lakers in 5. I don't know why the Lakers say like Lakers in 5. What, I guess like do they want to like win it on their home floor? Like, I don't know. And you're the 5th seed. Get LeBron healthy and see where you land. 6-man award for the Nets. Sarge DI writes, who would the 6th man be?
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown, I would love to put in that category. Coming off the bench. Alizé Johnson's looking like he could get it, but he hasn't been here long enough.
Maybe Shamet as well. He's shooting really well off the bench. He's hit almost 100 threes coming off the bench. I'm trying to think of people that have been consistently coming off the bench because, like, you'd think in an ideal world that Jeff Green is the 6th man of the year, but he's starting most games at this point. You got a lot of players who are doing that. Landry Shamet's starting more games. Bruce Brown has started more games. And that's what's great about this Nets team. 34 starting lineups, first place in the Eastern Conference, doesn't matter. everyone's a starter on this team. No 6-man because everyone is a top 5,
Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready crew. These guys are all ready to rock. I know Reggie Perry's been with the team. He's itching to get in there too. So the Nets are good. And last one, are y'all going to vlog the Nets game when you guys go? Of course I am. So look out for that. And that's when we'll get the squad together and we'll say, let's go Nets. Brooklyn. We go hard. And that's the episode. As you heard, Hudson just hit his recording to stop. Now we do a little after pod with you guys for the next 3 minutes till 11 o'clock. What's up, Hayden in the chat? Sports fan. I don't know your name, but I appreciate the support, bro. I always see you. Ramon, always see you as well. Sarge, Slick Nick, a bunch of people in the chat. Appreciate y'all for watching us do this live. I hope you guys like that we're doing this live. We used to record like this on Zoom privately, but then I figured out how to, pay for StreamYard and stream into YouTube. And I think it's a better way for us to be set up. We'll probably be doing a mix of live streams like this during the playoffs. Sometimes we'll get in the office when we can in the Bronx at John Boy Media. And then we also want to do, we're gonna go to some games. So there'll be some vlog content from there, but we also want to do a Tailgate Brooklyn event where Hudson and I wear the headsets with the microphone and we'll be, Michael Grady, Iron Eagle, Ryan Rupo, we'll call the game. We'll call the Nets game for a group of Nets fans in like a spot out there in Brooklyn. So that's all coming soon, man. I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome run. Thank God we have the Nets. As a Yankee fan, and most of you guys know, like I'm more popular, I guess, or like have been in the Yankee world longer. It's only because there's millions of Yankee fans and like that was the way in. But in this alternate universe, I find myself just like relieved. Like after watching the Yankees lose, I'm like, well, at least I can watch the Nets. And the Nets are ridiculous. Like watching the Nets,
the Nets are doing honestly what the Yankees are expected to do, right? Every year.
Literally. It's like this is exactly the and man, if you're a Yankee Nets fan, it makes too much sense for you now.
Shoot, I'm embarrassing myself wearing this right now. Like
it's okay.
Ridiculous.
Well, I'll probably have my Yankee stuff on later. Like I said, I'm not going to the game. I'm going to chill on this series. I'm trying to just like switch up the swag. I spent way too much money on tickets and paying the toll and food and beers going to watch the Yankees lose. I'm like, these dudes don't deserve it. But the Nets, man, yeah, we're going to the Nets game Saturday, May 15th. That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. And I'm definitely going to work on getting into the playoffs. And we're going to keep this thing rolling. It's going to be fun. It's going to be possibly the best experience for, sports fans that like, it's the dream, right? Your team was the laughable team. Your team was 12-70.
We were the bad news Bears.
Like your team moved 8 different times, and now you kind of figured it out, and you have the best chance you've had in ever to win a championship. I was in 8th grade, 9th grade when the Nets went to the finals in 2003, 2004, but we knew we weren't beating Kobe and Shaq, and we knew we also weren't going to beat the Spurs, maybe. But looking at this team is currently constructed, I don't think anyone's beating the Nets. So walk with your chest out, talk heavy, be proud, rep that Nets world and talking Nets. We appreciate you guys. When do I believe Harden will return? I don't think we're going to see Harden until the playoffs.
I
think it's the type of thing.
Game 1 of the first round.
At this point, they're like, and I think KD alluded to that. Like he said something like, can't wait to have James Harden back. Like I'm excited for the playoffs. So that's fine because it's called not showing your hand. It's called why give anyone any film of James Harden? They haven't seen James Harden in over a month now. Why give them any film of James Harden? Let them have to figure it out on the fly, and trying to figure it out on the fly, like Hudson said, we got to win 16 games in the playoffs. 16 games, that's not a lot of games. Like there's 9 games left. Like if you just throw Harden out there with KD, Kyrie, and then all of these role players that are getting great reps right now with guys being hurt, great reps right now with guys being out, our world, Nets world, like we should run away with this thing. We should run away with it.
I think we are. I mean, look, no other chance. No, like that's what we have to do, right? So, I mean,
yeah, that's
James Harden's gonna roll out of bed and be able to drop a triple double. So he doesn't need a ramp up time. It's automatic. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, Keith.
And notice that I didn't do the like follow us on Twitter, voicemail. Like at this point, it's like I don't have to call for voicemails. Earlier in the episode, I asked for reviews. I don't have to tell you to follow us. Like we're blessed. Talking Nets is gonna hit 10K. Probably
before the playoffs.
Definitely before the playoffs. It's like every game we gain like 50 to 100 followers. Hudson and I are doing it, man. And we thank you guys because you're doing it. Like you guys tuning into the stream, telling your friends that you listen to Talking Nets or you follow us. It's literally just us two. So we're thankful and we're blessed to be doing this. And we're going to narrate this whole run and we're going to cover this whole stretch. And hopefully it's one that we remember forever and it ends in a parade. And you can tell your grandkids, hey, man, Talking Nets 2021, the Nets won the finals. Keith and Hudson brought us all the way through that season to the championship. It was a hell of a time. All right, that's all we got. I'm out of here. See y'all on Twitter.